All right, so we're here to talk about why you should and shouldn't buy in today's market. And this is September of 2022, and inflation is high, and a lot of things are running rampant with the prices of food and the cost of living expenses in general, but also the cost of housing, which is what we're here to talk about today. So, housing prices have been going up, interest rates have been going up, and a lot of people have been pulling back from the market because they're wondering, oh, is this a good time to buy? Should we wait? And I'm going to be talking a little bit about why you should not buy and why you should wait. And you're going to be talking a little bit about why you should buy and why you should not put the brakes on things if you're looking to purchase a home right now. So, as an official introduction, I guess, I am Frederick Middlebrooks. I am a loan originator, but also a realtor. This is Cynthia Davis. She is a real estate broker. And if you want to learn more about us, you can just check the description below to get that information, as well as get any information on how you can contact us. So, I guess I'll get things kicked off and we can throw it back and forth. I'll talk a little bit I'll mention something about why you shouldn't buy. You can go to why you should buy, and we'll just go back and forth and let the people decide for themselves whether or not they want to buy or hold off a little bit. So to kick things off, I'll say the top reason why you should not buy in this market right now is because a lot of people believe we're in a housing bubble. A lot of people believe that the housing market is about to burst and prices are going to fall back down. And if you buy right now, it kind of be like buying a house in 2006 or at the beginning of 2007, and then '08 rolls around and you could have waited a little bit and got that same house for much cheaper. So I will say that's one reason why people should probably hold off right now, is because a lot of people feel we're in this bubble and inflation is kicking up and everything. So if prices are going to drop, then we should wait for that drop off to happen in the prices, and people could save tens of thousands of dollars potentially by waiting. So what do you got?
What I've got is the truth. We do not need to wait, okay? The house you buy today is going to be the least expensive house you can buy for years to come. Now, that bubble that Frederick is referencing to, I'm going to pop that bubble because that is not going to hold water in this market that we're in. And history tells us that prices of home increase at a steady rate year after year after year, usually 5% percent increase each year. And that's been going on since 1972. Up until through 2014 for sure. Now I know things went a little straight up last year, and that was a little bit abnormal, but there's a reason for that too, because of the shortage of properties that we have. So right now, to get back to what you said, don't wait. Today's price is the least expensive price you will find for years to come. Waiting will also lessen the amount of money that you get to have in your savings account, because your equity in your home operates as a savings account. Now, I'm sure you would say that's a good reason to go ahead and purchase today. Go ahead and start that savings account rolling for you.
Okay, so throwing it back to me a little bit, I'll say one other reason, in addition to housing prices, interest rates are on the rise right now. And so we were seeing 3%, even 2% interest rates, the high twos for a little bit, and interest rates are now up in the sixes. And so with interest rates on the rise, people are paying more per month for that mortgage, not just because of the housing prices, but also because of the interest rates that have risen up. And so that is another reason why I believe that people should hold off a little bit, because interest rates will start to creep back down a little bit once this inflation gets under control, with the government and the Federal Reserve trying to raise interest rates to reel inflation back in. But then, I believe it'll start to taper off again, and we'll get back down to those fours and those hopefully threes maybe, or at least fives that we're used to seeing. But we're in the sixes right now. I think interest rates is a reason why we should just hold off right now. So
no. The very first home, well, I'll say the second home that I purchased at the prevailing rate, which was 17% interest rate. 6% seems like a lot simply because we're coming off of 2%, 2.5%, 3%, as you mentioned. However, 6% is not a bad rate. And if it goes back to 2%, which would be nice, but if it does go back there, refinance. Take advantage of the current rate, interest rate. You do not have to stay at the 6%. Take advantage of the 2%. But at least you'll be taking advantage of your equity continuing to grow instead of holding off.
Okay.
Okay.
So throwing it back to me a little bit. So we'll say another reason why people should hold off and wait for, a better time or a better market. There's a lot going on in the world right now. Politically, obviously there's a war happening in Ukraine right now, but we've got a lot of turmoil happening here in the stateside with election season being just around the corner, this being September of 2022, November's coming up just around the corner and everything. With everything that's happening in the laws and everything that are going on in place right now, it's not the most stable time to be dumping a whole bunch of money into a house. So let's look at the cost associated. So you have down payment, you've got closing costs.
I agree.
And you're going to have interest, you're going to have insurance that you're going to have to pay on top of that. And so with home prices now elevated, your down payment is more, your closing costs are more, your insurance is more. And so in unstable times that we're in right now, you should probably keep a lot of that cash that you can on hand for the uncertainty that you don't know when you're going to need that money. You don't know what situation or circumstance may arise in which it's like, ooh, I wish I had $5,000 to handle this unexpected expense that came up with my HVAC system. Or, if you're renting right now, that's not your problem. But obviously, maybe it's your car repair. Maybe it's something else. And so having that cash on hand could be something that could be very beneficial rather than just dumping it into a home right now.
Listen, no way. Because what happens is that life is unstable. We do not make our lifelong decisions as far as purchasing a house based on things that we have no control over. And you mentioned stability. How stable you make yourself in this unstable environment that we're in is to purchase a home, because purchasing that home will give you stable, steady outflow. You know what your mortgage payment is going to be each and every month. Every year your mortgage payment is going to be the same, except for your taxes, your property taxes, and your insurance might increase. That is keeping you with some stability in this unstable environment. So if we're seeking for stability, buying a home makes sense. However, renting, on the other hand, might not make sense at all, because every time that lease comes up for renewal and the landlord has the option to increase rent, guess what? Rent gets increased. There goes that little stable platform that you've been banking on this whole time, because now the landlord say, nope, my property is worth more now. You either pay it or you move. Now you're in an unstable situation that you created for yourself by not purchasing. And oftentimes, you can purchase and have a mortgage payment less than a rental lease amount each month. So there we go.
All right, well, I got one more that we'll throw out there. Let's talk about maintenance and upkeep. So with maintenance and upkeep, if I don't own the home, that is not my responsibility to maintain and upkeep the grass, to maintain and upkeep the HVAC system or the furnace or the water heater. That is something that is on the landlord. So those are costs that I particularly don't have to worry about when I'm a renter. I don't have to worry about oh no, the water line broke and I got to spend thousands of dollars to repair it, or we have an electrical problem, or the heat's not working because we're about to head into winter time. The refrigerator went out, the stove's not, whatever. There's so many things that could come into play here when you're talking about maintenance and upkeep. And even in some situations, if you're renting an apartment, maybe it's the lawn. I don't have to cut grass, which means I don't have to buy a lawnmower. I don't have to buy fertilizer to keep it looking green. I don't have to buy a water hose to water whatever garden I might not have or might have if I were purchasing a home instead. So those are also expenses that come on top of owning a home that when you're renting, I don't have to worry about the lawnmower. I don't have to worry about the grass. I don't have to worry about painting because that's something that is on the landlord for the maintenance and upkeep. And those expenses do add up. So
You're right.
that's something that I would say is in favor of not buying because you don't have all of those expenses for the maintenance and the upkeep of a home that falls on the homeowner but not the renter.
Okay, let's look at this. If what you're looking for is stability in your life, if what you're looking for is building wealth in your life, and building wealth is what we do through home ownership, most people largest bank account is in the equity in their home. Is it worth, when you balance those out, I don't have to cut grass, but I'm building wealth. I think I'll cut a little grass, okay? And the furnace goes out. You can also have insurance in your homeowner's policy or a home warranty that covers those expenses. So what you do is you put yourself in a position that those are not factors that will keep you from building wealth in home ownership. And what we do is we look at the pros and we look at the cons. And if we're sitting here writing these down all day long, hands down, owning a home is more beneficial if you're trying to gain wealth. If you're trying to have a legacy of financial wealth for your family members. And taking out of the picture that I don't have any of the other factors that you mentioned. Okay, yes, I don't do that. But then I'm missing out on the tax benefit that comes with being able to write off my interest from my mortgage. I'm missing out on that benefit. You still are making the same amount, let's say.
Paying the same amount? Yeah.
You're paying more in taxes. Home ownership allows you to write that off. At the same time, working on your wealth and your equity. At the same time, stability of of your family, and not that stability being in the hand of the landlord who decides how much your rent is going to be. And if your salary hasn't increased, guess what? You're moving again. But your mortgage is not going to increase. But the value of your home historically says that it's going to increase. So cut a little grass, call the maintenance people. It's not every day. It happens.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Well, that's the case that we've made, so I guess we'll let the viewers decide for themselves whether or not they think now is a good time to purchase a home or if now is a time where they feel like they should wait until a better time. I will say that a lot of my points do come towards speculation of the unknown. No one knows what's going to happen in the future. Home prices could go up in the future. They could go down in the future, but no one knows. A lot of your points are made towards the stability, as you spoke to, with what you do know, which is my mortgage is going to be this, and I don't have to worry about it going up. And if interest rates drop below what I paid, I can refinance and get a lower interest rate. So it comes more to the stability, where mine is more or less, I don't know, we're going to wait and see what happens. And if they happen to go up, then, maybe I should have bought earlier. But if they go down, hey, I made a good choice. But with all of the other stuff that we put into play, we'll let the viewers decide what they think is best.
That is what we will let them do. I agree.
All righty.
They have information to do that with.
That's all that we have for you. So please tune in next episode where we'll be talking about something else relevant. Until then, take care.
We'll see you next time.